This is the situation at the end of my first play of Cuba Libra. I was playing the government solo, and I used the bot for the other three factions. And just quickly first looking at the score before I give some thoughts on the game. The government, myself, ended up with 21 support, so that minus 18 gave me a +3 margin. The Directorio ended up with 7 population and bases. Take away 9 from that, so they were -2. The Syndicate had 5 open casinos. Take away 7, so they were -2. And 26 July ended up with 10 opposition plus bases, and take 15 away from that, so they were -5. So that was a win to myself, the government. As I say, I was +3, the closest was -2, so that's a margin of 5. So in effect that was, if I'm doing it right, a model counterinsurgency. Against the odds, the Cuban dictatorship has shown how to fight insurrection and foreign infiltration. Other Latin American regimes studied the success. Okay, so that was the result of my first game. Now, I'm sure I didn't get everything perfectly right, and I probably made a few mistakes with the bots here and there, but the beauty about this system is that I can make mistakes and it doesn't affect the end game. And because really the bots don't always play the optimum moves, and that's like playing other players who don't make optimum moves as well. So that's one part of the system I really like. Just quickly taking a look at the positioning on the map at the end of the game. Let's take a look at the Syndicate first. They had open casinos in Pinar del Rio, La Habana, and right down in Santiago de Cuba. 26 July had bases in Pinar del Rio as well, Las Villas, and down at Sierra Maestra. In terms of their presence on the map, they were really strong throughout the entire game at Sierra Maestra. Just dominated that region the whole game. But elsewhere they didn't really make much impact. The Directorio had presence pretty much right across Cuba during the game, and I felt they posed the greatest threat to me as the government on an ongoing basis, more than the other two factions. At the end of the game they were in Habana, Matananza, Las Villas, Camagüey, Oriente, and down in Santiago de Cuba. As for the government, I found I was able to sort of maintain control of the cities quite easily during the game, and without too much problem. And in terms of the provinces, I was only able to get into Camagüey towards the very last few turns of the game, and I was sort of in a continual battle at La Habana, and to a lesser extent at Pinar del Rio during the game, having presence there on and off, and control on and off. So, what do I think of Cuba Libra? Well, my only other experience with the coin system has been Andy Nibis, and I rate that game very highly. The biggest difference is I felt this game, as I said earlier, was a lot tighter than Andy Nibis, and I had more control over what I was doing here. It seemed less chaotic, and I just felt like I was able to achieve my aims a little bit more easily than, say, in Andy Nibis, and they weren't disrupted as much as they are in Andy Nibis. As a primarily solo player with the coin system, two of my main gaming buddies are cool on the system because of the level of luck and inability to plan at times. I find that I'm playing this solo, and yeah, it's just a terrific solo system. And out of the two, certainly Cuba Libre is more accessible given the smaller size of the country and less pieces. It was very, very handy having the knowledge of the basic system, and just with a few tweaks you can get into these new coin games very easily. So it makes the system very accessible once you get into it. Love the history of the game. Found myself really wanting to read the cards as I was playing them and learn about the history, but I was also really keen to plough on with the game. So next game I'm going to try and spend more time learning the history, which is one of the beauties about the coin system. You do get to delve into the history of the subject a little bit as well. So that was Cuba Libra. Highly rated, highly recommended. Well done.